Okay. There you go. We had thought about this. We thought about this. We thought about, if I would recall you quickly, recap, we talk about how we look at information system in in a traditional way where we see system for each different of levels of management. But at the end, I was talking about, hey, nowadays, we look at that maybe more like a platform. This is a platform where it could be accessible. It could be, you actually using the same, platform to actually get to deal with your information, get to share your information, get to access your information. But, later on, you will be um, learning more from me that in this platform, there's something called security that they can apply that to make sure that the platform will be used securely. That means not everyone can be accessing every part of the platform or every data or every information kept in this platform. Maybe this part can be only accessible by this group of people, but they're actually going to the same platform for using, the technologies to do their jobs. Not like in the past where they have different technology, they have different system for their, for their levels of management for their jobs. So it's more like, just saying in this slide here that it's to, there's key terms like link, there's key term like functions. Um, maybe the red color would, be clearer with the bigger um, line there. Okay. So span a class include all levels of management. So that's terms. These terms actually give you the ideas of collaborations, and you come here to do something together. Like if you look at the system that I taught you last week, they had broken systems into like, executive, like for different levels of management, for like, senior management, they have like executive support system. For like, first line people, they have like transaction processing systems. But this one, with the application, like what we're talking about here, they seems to be having a shared platform. It seems to be serving what we call cross-functional business process. Like I talked about this last week, but the process actually run across multiple departments. And I think this is where we were last week, and then we're going to be starting from here. That since we talked about this already, then we just can talk about the first one that we can talk about with the enterprise applications, which is called ERP. It so can be called as enterprise resource planning systems. I think this is something that you may hear about it in the near future. Not near future, but after you graduate, you probably hear about this because it's pretty common in the business organizations for them to use ERP to help operating the processes within organizations. So what do they do? Let me read out loud first, just to get an idea, and then I will give you in a more simple explanation to you as fresh students what it's about, Ajahn, when we talk about enterprise resource planning. So it's actually integrate data from key business processes into single systems. So you got the term integrate. You got that, collaboration, sharing, blah blah blah, a class. So this one's like integrate data from keeping this process into single, so you don't have different systems to, for yourself, but you are using single, this single systems. Speed communication of information throughout, so you got the terms here, throughout firms. Enable greater flexibilities in responding to customer requests, greater accuracy in order to fulfillment, enable managers to assemble overall view of operations. Overall view. Okay. So I'll just gonna go through these lines first, and I'll explain to you. Okay. I'm just gonna, tell you so you get an idea. So also again, also known as once again ERP, resource planning or ERP systems, based on a suite of integrated software module and a common central database. Okay, it's common central. See, it's like platform, right? That sense collects data from many divisions, okay, from many divisions together here, right, for a firm for use in nearly all of firm's internal business activities. Information entered in one process is immediately available for other processes. Hello. So I think this is something that related to what I taught you before regarding cross-functional business process. Remember, I talked about order fulfillment process that from sales, they have hit the, placing order button, then accounting manager get notified automatically. That means that the order information is actually automatically here's it is. Order information automatically flow from sales department to accounting department. With this arrow here is the flow of information. So this person, accounting person or manager, notification. So they knew that an order has been placed, so they have to start checking the credits and approve it, whether to ensure that this customer is eligible to, order the product. Okay, so that's sort of the things that ERP could do for you. So again, I'm gonna just go through this more build around thousands of predefined business processes that reflect best practice. So the key term is predefined. Okay, reflect best practice, finance, accounting, human resources, manufacturing, production, and sales and marketing. Firms select function of systems they wish to use business process to solve the processes. Use software configuration table for customizing it. So here's the term customizing. Configuration table. Okay, all right, I will talk about it again. All right. Here's the picture of what it is. So you get central database. Now, what is it as an ERP? Let me give you in this simple terms. So in the business organizations, we have a lot of business processes. Now we have this person, let's say Mr. A, who is a manager of the company, say, oh, I feel like we need ERP in our work. So they call Mr. B, who come from the ERP, the supply ERP vendor company, to come in and see whether is there any possibility for company that Mr. A's work for to implement ERP. So Mr. B comes in and started to look around and with his team and said, okay, well, we see that your sales department, your finance department, and your manufacturing production departments are having a lot of things sort of overlapping, or there's a lot of things that can be done together. You don't always have to be work separately, among people from finance, among people from sales and marketing, among people from production. I mean, there's a lot of commonalities, the process that can be reach out to one another. Before then it was like they have their own processes. They have their own processes. So with the ERP that I mentioned, it's, hey, we are going to integrate data into single system, so we don't have separated, like database, right? With this is a platform that we can see all our information, right? So what it happened is that in these systems, like what I told you before, based on what you can see from the slide here, that they already figure out for you what would be the best processes to do. Just like you say, Ajahn, this is how I travel from my house to school. There's many routes. I think someone have forgotten to, I think I can check, to turn off their mind. I think labor, Eva, I think you forgot to turn off your mind. Maybe we can hear something from you. Eva? Yes, thank you. Right. So just like I told you that, okay, these are the routes that you can use to travel from your house to Jular campus. But you say, oh, Ajahn, but this is the best route. It's a shortcut, and then it's not that long. It would be saving your time to travel from this spot A to spot B, which is from your house to university campus. So I think in the ERP system, they have figured out what would be the best way to do these things and that thing in organizations. Best practice. But then that predefined or prefigure, they have already figured out what to do with these processes. And then if you just implement the software will let you know what are you going to do with this process. For example, like order fulfillment process, for example, recruitment process, whatever things that you got in your company, order pricing process, blah, blah, blah. But once you put the software implemented in organizations, it's going to make the change to how you do things in your organization. And that could be a problem with the people because that's not how they have been doing for maybe the last 15 years. And then once you implement this, what we call ERP in there, you are asking them to actually change the way they do things. Talking about business processes, and instead of doing on their own, they have to use the platform like the ERP platform to run these processes. And some of the process, like I said to you before, has to be coordinated with people, or with other department outside your own department, which some people may not be happy about it, but then that's the thing called change management, and you have to deal with it anyway, which is difficult, which is very challenging for managers to manage change it, because people sometimes are not happy. They call consistent to change. Sorry, not consistent. Resistant to change. Okay, so you select function based on what Mr. B recommending. So you select, okay, let's just work on marketing, finance, and manufacturing production. So we'll focus on this to implement the ERP applications. So they will then implement it, and then by implementing it, it means that they have to customize what they have already predefined to fit. They have to configure it to fit the company. They already have something that already said, okay, this is what you do, but they can adjust it a bit, customize to fit the company. So once you are having this thing implemented, then you get the new process, which they believe that it's the best process for you to do. Right. For example, So these are the example what's happening. So once you have the ERP, you have decentralized database. Okay. It is too big, too thick. Okay. So you have this centralized database. So you don't have like each different database for each different department, but everyone are using the same database here. Now, whatever, let's say I was giving an example of, okay, let's focus on three function, which is manufacturing, production, and then sales and marketing and finance accounting. But for this figure, let's just say that you are going to also want to include human resources function in part of your ERP system as well. So what happens is that the information that you are going to be using, for this manufacturing, production, human resources, sales and marketing, finance and accounting, you have, when you work on whatever things that you work on your department, you have these informations like cash on hand, account receivable, customer credits, and revenue. You see the arrows here. It's going in and going out. There's two hits arrow. It's the black one here, which is going in, and then there's like gray arrows here, which is going out. Well, so what does it mean here is whatever information you've got that was generated from your work for human HR, human resources department, you have hours work, labor cost, job skill. For manufacturing production, you have like information about material, production schedules, shipment dates, production capacity, purchases. Also, sales and marketing, you have something like order, sales forecast, return request, price changes. So basically, you don't keep this information within your department, but you, as you see back arrow here, you keep it there. So that other people with the class functional business process, you may need, even though you're not from sales and marketing, but finance accounting people may want to know something about sales forecast or manufacturing production. They might want to know something about sales forecast in order for them to plan, to schedule their productions. Or like human resources, they want to plan about their human forces, right? Labor costs, hours. They may want to know about production schedule information that was done by manufacturing production department. You see, like you don't have, in order for you to work, you can't just rely on your information that was just generated just from what's within your department. But you need to know what other people do in order to do your job. So, and that also goes back to what we said about cross-functional business process, because that thing might be part of the cross-functional process that you need to connect your job with the other people's job from different departments to make it like the whole, cross-functional business process. And so with this black arrow here, you are getting, you see the black arrows here, you are the black arrows you are keeping, but the gray arrow there, you are pulling out. So that means this platform allows you to keep what you know, what you generated, and also it allows you to pull what you want to know from this single database. All right. So that means if we go back to this, we have this class functional business process. Remember I talked about this. So you have this other information. So that is the information already. So that information automatically flow from sales and accounting. You see, it's that's something reflecting with this technologies here, that they actually had to be run on the same platform in order for this process to be taking place. Like what I'm trying to explain to you, that the sales or the order information automatically flow from this sales department to accounting departments, and then once they approve the credits, then the credit approval information then automatically flow. You see the arrows here, from this department to manufacturing production department, so they can start assembling the products. And this process run across multiple departments. And you see the mechanism of how information is getting shared and flow from one department to the other department, allowing them to work together. So the key mechanism is that you get that flow of information, that automatic flow of information that is basically the key things that allow people to actually work together, or to connect their jobs to one another and make it like a one whole, cross-functional business process. So what I'm trying to explain to you so far is it gives you a sense of collaborations through technologies. People don't work just on their own, but they actually join, share, let each other know what they've done, notify each other, and then the things that I'm talking now, they actually use technology to support this collaboration. So collaboration is a pretty big word nowadays. So business value of enterprise system. So it increased operational efficiency. Yeah, as you can see now that they work together, things were more connected, provide firm-wide information to support decision making, because you get to be exposed to firm-wide information. So you know what they do, you know more about your company rather than just within your department. And information is kept in one place. Easier to access what's around the organizations. Enable rapid response to customer requests for information or product, because things are connected. The design of the processes has been designed to make things more coherent, more productive, more logical. And that business process that's been designed is actually predefined already in the enterprise software systems, enterprise software. You just need to configure it, or customize it, right? So that allows the rapid response to customer requests. Right? Include analytical tools to evaluate overall organizational performance and improve decision making, because you keep all the information or data within one place. So that's allow something easier for the technologies to use this data for analytical purposes, or to analyze something out from that data. With that information and data that you have, it's very handful nowadays with the things called big data, right? I think one of the teams talking about it today. It's something that very important. Nowadays, when you are deciding to do something, you can't just, okay, let's do that. Okay, let's do this. Decision must be made out from on the basis of analysis of data, because data reflect what happened. Data reflect the pattern of what could also be in the future. You want to see, expect that, when you make a decision, you sort of guessing what could happen, then you make a decision, okay, if that's going to happen, then let's do this. But then in order for you to say like, well, that's gonna happen. Nowadays, people really look at data first before they could say, oh, what that could happen. Right. Okay. So let's move on to the next one, which is called supply chain management systems. Right. This is the first year level class, so I'm not like, I'm sure there'll be something more about this, like supply chain management. But then first for this class, I'm gonna give you just a big picture, just to get you to understand like how information technologies can be used to support your business processes. Now we are focusing on one of the main, processes within our organization, which is called supply chain management or supply chain process. But before we get to talk about how technologies can be used to support the process, let's talk about what is it, when we talk about supply chain. When you're selling the cake in your bakery, you can't just get everything from your local, you know, store or like from yourself. You need to buy something from other people, like milk. But for milk producer, um, they need to like, like not the milk producer. I'm sorry, they for the retail store. You buy something from retail store first. Like you buy things from like supermarket or like superstore where it's not milk, cheese, and everything, and then you use that to make your cake. But then it needs to go through the milk producer first. So the milk producer supplying milk to the supermarket, and supermarket sells things to people who needs to drink milk or people who actually needs to buy milk for their use or whatever things. So I'm trying to get you to understand that not everything that you do in your business can only be done by you. You need other people around you to get the things done. And then once let's say you deliver the cakes, maybe you are not the one who actually deliver, but you need like, you're using like the transport service, or people are now using the delivery platform to order your cake. So it's not you who actually deliver, but it's someone else deliver, and then it reach the customer. Or you talk about sorry. Ooh, we need to talk about the exporting, importing, overseas distribution. We're talking about like distribution centers, or worldwide level, and that's something that is studied in great details because when you talk about logistics, we talk about you want to supply transport your products like big a lot of volumes of products. We talk about shipping. We talk about using air like aircraft, plane, or using truck or whatever. So I mean, these things are actually being studied because you need to actually figure out what would be the best way. I mean, as a businessman or woman, you always have to figure out what would be the best way to do things. Like just like yourself, you are transporting yourself to from your house to campus. You also need to figure out, okay, if I wake up late and then I need to be in the class at 9 to be on time, maybe today I need to take a taxi. Today I need to take MRT. Well, that one is more expensive, but then it's faster. And then today I don't have much time, so I need to, spend money on this transportation means because it's really going to help me to actually get myself to the class on time. So in your personal life, in your daily life, you think about that too. What way would be the best way, fastest way to travel from point A to point B, and whether or not that would be like costly, or is it logical? I mean, in terms of the pricing that you are going to pay for, right? You want to be somewhere where you can be there on time, but then you don't have to pay that much to be there on time. This choices, there's options. So you need to think about it. So in a company, it's more complex than that, because you're not just going to one place. It's like to talk about like if you're producing something that it's actually being exported around the world. So that means, you know, a lot of logistic partners or companies that you have to deal with. So manage relationships with suppliers, purchasing firms, and distributors and logistics companies, right? This is what we call supply chain management, right? Manage chain information about orders, productions, inventory levels, and so on. So I think based on what I just read out to you so far, it tells you that this is more like the back end part of the business where, you know, customer comes to the store, they see the beautiful stores with the products and everything, but then they don't know, they didn't see what's behind, what was done behind the scene before the products get to be arranged in front of them, right? I mean, this is the part that we're talking about, you know, all the process before it reach the shelf in the store where the customer come walking beautifully come into the store, and then, you know, browse through the products, you know, chat with the salespeople. But, you know, that's the nice part. I mean, that's the marketing part. That's a marketing part. But before we reach that part, as a businessman and woman, there's things that you have to work on with suppliers, distributors, logistics, right? So I said you will manage share information about order, production, inventory levels, and so on. Because you need to work as a team when you say share information. I mean, this parties within this chain that I think the system was trying to push them to actually work as a team. I think I'm about to tell you more about it later, just in the, you know, in the very near future here. Goal is to move correct information and collect amount of products. Goal is to move correct amount of products from source to point of consumption as quickly as possible at lowest cost. That's very much to do with transport, right? Like exactly what I said to you before just now. Type of interorganizational system automating flow of information, class organizational boundaries. So when we talk about automatic flow of information, I did talk about that in the enterprise resource planning system, right? But now we're still referring to that terms, and then but in different contexts. Now we're talking about other interorganizational. So we allow we are actually trying to enable or allow companies, organizations to work with each other, right? We talk about supplier, right? We talk about distributors, right? Supplier, distributor. We talk about logistic companies, right? Purchasing firms. They can share information. So to get the work done, they got to work together. But in order for them to work together, there's these things about information technologies and informations that we need to manage, right? But at least we're talking about share it. So to educate you once again more in more details about supply chain, network organization process for procuring materials. I said to you before, you need to buy milk from someone in order for you to make cakes, cheese, butter, strawberry. You're procuring materials. If you produce share, you produce furniture, you need wood, plastic, material parts. You produce clothes, right? You need like, you know, fabric, button, zip, and then you make a cloth. So you are the one who transform, this is manufacturing, where you transform materials into products, but you need the materials first and make it into products. Like I said, zip, leather, fabric, buttons to make like a shirt, a jacket or whatever. Then once you have the finished jacket, which finished t-shirt, shirt, pants, jeans, then you distribute this to store around the world. Let's say you are like the big brand and you make clothes and you have to store around the world. So you have to distribute it. So this is basically what that is not seen by the customers. Right. Upstream supply chain, downstream supply chain, right? Internal supply chain. Right. So what is that all about this? This is the part you see here upstream. And this is downstream. Right. So here's the center here, manufacturing, making, producing. Right. So let's say this is company A, or like here, say Nike. It could be any company that produce things. Let's say you produce furniture. Let's say you produce clothes. You need the plastic part. The plastic was coming from the place where they made the plastic. So you bought the plastic and you make it to be something that is ready for production. Then you supply this plastic to this manufacturing to make, let's say, furniture that's made from plastic, or bag that could be the plastic bag. It could be anything that that you need the plastic for your productions. But for you to get that plastic bag, you need the plastic first. So it could be contract supply because you buy like maybe 10,000 pieces of plastic a year. So when I say contract supply, it means like you are promising these people, saying like, oh, you could be buying 10,000 pieces of plastic. If you're gonna buy that much, I'm going to sell you at this much price per one piece of plastic. I mean, obviously that could be cheaper than just buy one or two pieces of plastic. This is more or less negotiating sort of things that they do out there. But in order for me to sell you the piece of plastic at this low price, you need to promise me into the contract that you're definitely gonna buy me this much 10,000 pieces of plastic next year. Obviously, I'm producing plastic bag. I'm gonna need that many pieces of plastic. Now, these people made the plastic, but it's not gonna be something ready to be used for like bag protection. So these ones probably converted a sort of the raw plastic into something more, piece of plastic that's ready for productions. But these one may need to buy chemical things. I mean, plastic made from, I don't know, substance like chemical, I don't know. But then they need to buy things that actually allow them to make plastic. And these people converted the plastic that was just not ready for production to be something that's more ready for production. I'm just giving you example of, that's why they have a suppliers support Taiwan, China 2, China 3, to actually provide each other what they need for their production purposes. And this supplier part is called upstream, and then this supplier part is called downstream. Now there's come to the other term called internal supply. For example, like maybe you are the producer or something and you have your own supply. Let's say you might produce your own plastics. And then it's just within your company. So within a company, you need to supply your materials to your production process. It's possible that you may be the one who actually provide the materials. So you are internally supplying your own materials to your own production process. All right. Now, but what about downstream? So once products, let's say you have finished producing plastic bags or clothes or furniture or whatever thing, you gotta distribute. And sometimes distributors, you don't rely on only one distributor because you are producing your products, let's say clothes, to company around to the local store around the world. This is the store retailer. So you need to transport your products to the distributor, let's say in Rome, Italy, if you are going to supply your products to stores within all of the countries of Italy, to California if you're going to supply your products to store within the US. Okay, so you need to use distributing services to distribute your products to stores. And then customer come to store. This is the part that customers see. They come to retailing store to see the products and then browse through the products and then buy the product from the store. But before this, I'm talking about that. Before the retailing store, this is the part that we talk about. It's something that is behind the scene. It's something that's not, it's not something that is seen by the customers. But you see arrow here? You see arrow here? It gives you, remember what I told you before, information. Remember, this is a class called information system, information technology, information system. So we go back to the fact that when you are actually handling your business processes, there's something called information being sent, being received. Okay. So what time is it now? It's almost 10. I need to make sure that I'm going to finish before, I think it's about 15 more minutes because I need to, I think the debate for the second team supposed to be longer than what we had last week. I think we were so in rush with the second team debate, and then I just need to handle my lecture times to give you more time with the discussion and presentation. I mean, with the debate and discussion after each presentation. And let's go on with this. Supply chain management. Inefficiency cut into a company's operating costs can raise up to 25% operating expenses if you don't plan these well. I mean, supply chain. If you don't do this well, procuring materials, transforming, distributing, if you don't do this well, you could end up wasting a lot of money for operating expenses. You need to do right. You need to transport appropriately. You need production purposes. There's a lot of things that you need to figure out. Like, remember I told you before, like how much you are buying. How would you have refrigerator in your bakery store, right? Remember, you have buying milk, cheese, strawberry. You need to even figure out the space in your refrigerator, like, and when you are buying milk and how you're going to buy it, where you're going to buy it, and how much you're buying it. Because if you buy too much, you don't have the space in the refrigerator to keep it. And also, you don't want to use non-fresh milk or non-fresh strawberry to bake to make your cakes. You know, the cake must be made from fresh, you know, products. But to avoid your Eva, I think your mic again. Eva, turns off your mic, please. Okay. All right. So that's always something that you have to figure out and handle. Just in terms of strategies, components arrive as they needed, finished good, ship after leaving assembly line. You know, like in this supply chain management world, this is very important strategy. You don't want too much. You don't want too much. You don't want too little. Now, when you make cakes, you want to produce cakes, and then at the end of the day, you want to finish. You want other cakes to be sold out. You don't want to have the leftover cakes in your store because it's not going to be a good cake for the next day. People always want freshly baked. You want to buy milk and then you use it up because these are the fresh products. You want to buy strawberry and you want to use it up by the end of the day. You don't want to keep the milk and strawberry for too long because if you use all strawberry to bake your cakes, it's not going to be in a nice cake, right? Because they want fresh strawberry and fresh cakes. So this is, so that means you have to be able to figure out like the pretty much the right piece, the right number of strawberries, the right amount of milk that you are going to buy. Right? So, and the right amount, the right number of pieces of cakes that you are going to make today, because you don't want the cakes to be left. So finished goods, I said to you before, it's not about cakes, we talk about other types of goods. Finished good chip after leaving assembly line, not like you finish making the goods from the factory and then you keep it in the warehouse for 3 months, it never gets sold. I mean, that's not going to be good for the product. It's get old. And in the warehouse, if you keep the products, there's a cost of keeping the product. Some products need to be kept in the cool place. Some product needs to be kept in whatever condition. That's the cost. Right. So we have something called safety stock, buffer or lack of flexibility in supply. So you need to be able to like, what if there are a certain demand of the products you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have the products to offer to the customer, right? You really need to consider the conditions where when you suddenly needs to be selling that, buffer for the lack of routine supply. You need to think about there's some abnormal, not certain conditions where sometimes products may be in high demand and then you Eva, are you there, Eva? Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
You need to turn off your mic, yes. Right. So you need to really be able to manage the flexibility of like the supply chain as well, just in case of a normal, non-normal situations. So you need to figure out again how much you need to produce, just to also cover some time with the non-normal situation. Okay, not normal situation, not normal situation. Bullwhip effect. Information about products demand get distorted as it passes from one entity to next across supply chain. This is what it is, bullwhip effect. I mean, if you don't, manage your information well, I'm going to be going back to this term information. Customer A's order, I need one yellow bicycle and one red bicycle. Retail store got in the ad orders. They tell the distributor that we need one yellow bicycle, one red bicycle. Distributor says, yes, we can produce that, one yellow bicycle, one red bicycle. So they need to get the yellow part and red part from suppliers in order for them to assemble a bicycle. Two bicycle, one yellow, one red. Now, like 15 minutes later, this customer say, well, I've changed my mind. I want one green and one red. Okay, good service with returning store service. Okay, I'm going to change the orders, and they keep calling these people one green, one red instead of yellow and red, one green, one red. Okay, they have changed it. Okay, we need the green part rather than the yellow parts to make one of the bicycle here. But then the red part they used to supply to me. Now the customer, like 15 minutes later, this customer changed their mind again. But returning store said, okay, you can change your order within a day. I mean, within 24 hours after you order, let's see, this is the policy. You can still change your mind. So he, instead of wanting green, yellow, he wants two green. Okay. No, actually, no, not two green. I changed it. Even myself, changed my mind. He wants yellow and green now. From yellow and red to green and red, now yellow and green. This is the updated versions of his order. So this customer again call and say, okay, right now change my mind, but this is the final judge. This is going to be the final time. I'm sorry about this. Okay, fine. It's still within our policy. So yes, yellow and green. They told distributor yellow and green. But then these ones say yellow and red. Distorted. I mean, sometimes human errors, right? They told the wrong thing. So they get the yellow part and red part. So they started to mix yellow and red, and then they distributed yellow and red. Then customer comes to the store and says, oh, no, this is not what we ordered. We ordered yellow and green. Oh, I'm sorry. So this could be a sort of the things called book effect, where information could get distorted along the line here. With human beings, it could be errors from human beings, right? And sometimes you have to actually, there's a lot of information being communicated. So you see the sense of gaining technologies to help you, because technology, if information is being, if the change was made through IT or information, it will be, because technology is very accurate, isn't it? The technologies tell exactly what you put. I mean, unless you put the wrong buttons, like instead of saying green and yellow, but then you put the wrong things like, yellow and red, rather than, if you put in the wrong color in the system. So that, yeah, but that's still human errors, right? But once you put that in the system will then update information of the new order. It's like, okay, it's now yellow and green, and then it will tell what it was put in the system, into the systems throughout the people here. Okay. So supply chain management system software. So here it comes to the big picture of how we can use technologies to support the supply chain management related tasks. So we have the two tasks here, which could be supported by supply chain management software. It's planning tasks and then execution tasks, right? So you need to plan, like essentially to plan how many you're making So we're talking about models that is in supply chain enable demand planning, optimizing sourcing and manufacturing plan, establish inventory levels, and define transportation modes. So I think this is more or less like what I was trying to explain you with decision support systems, like data that was collected historically. Whatever you did, data has been collected. That data could be used to analyze and help you to see what happened. And based on that, it helps you to model or figure out or forecast and plan what to do within the system. So you are using the system to help you to plan what to do, to plan the demand of products, like, okay, how much should we make? So, with this data of what has been purchased, what has been demanded from the past, it gives you the ideas of, okay, well, based on data, this is what you should then do. How much you should buy, how much you should purchase in terms of materials to keep in your inventory. What kind of transportation you should choose based on what happened, then this many means of product, this many means of transportations, and then this is the length of time you spend, and then this is the cost of using that, like transportations. Everything needs to be planned, then you are using a system to help you to plan and decide what to do. Now, supply chain execution system, it's, rather focusing on the upstream part. Downstream part here. Upstream is up here, supply. Like this is more on the planning. You need to plan like how much you're making, how much of the materials you're buying, when are you buying, blah, blah, blah. That's those are the question for the planning. But then for execution is more down to downstream part here where we talk about managed flow of products through distribution centers and warehouse. You need to make sure that everything is in the right track, because you don't want your customer to complain later like, oh, you are late. You want to make sure that it's in the right track. I mean, once you order, then like product has been, material has been ordered, product has been assembled, product already been finished, and it gets out from the manufacturing factory to distribution center. It's get out from distribution center to retailing store, and then it's not available at a retailing store. You are telling the customer to come to the store to pick up the products. So this the movement and flow of what's been done throughout materials into like finished products, and then once you get a finished product, that's very important. That one is reach out once it's been sent out from the manufacturing factory, then it goes to like distribution center. Let's say it's worldwide transportation or worldwide distribution we're talking about here. So it needs to be tracked that this product actually being transported correctly. It goes to the right places in the right time. Now, some companies, they actually share this information with the customers, where once you with an e-commerce platform where you place order, you place an order for that product, right? And then some customer can actually go back and check like the progress of product, or whether it's been produced, it's been dispatched, it's been out from the factory, it's been reaching distribution center, it's been transported to the retailing store, and then it's now reached the retailing store, and then it notify the customer, yeah, it's now, you can now come to the retailing store to pick up the product, or the product will be delivered to your house door like within 5 days, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So these are like they're actually using technologies to help you to keep tracking what's going on with the products, and then informing maybe the customer with what's going on with their orders, just to inform the customer the progress, and making sure that like the customer will get the right products at the right time. Okay. Global supply chains and internet. Oh wait, what time is it? Oh, it's 10:15. So I think I should stop. I must stop. I mean, if I talk about this slide here. oh my God, it's gonna be, I'm gonna need some time to talk about it, and then that's gonna eat up the time that I plan to make sure that I need to, manage my time to make sure that debate. I don't want the second team, I mean, the debate for the second team to be in rush and give you time to actually interact. Okay, right. So I think I should stop here. So thank you so much for your wonderful attentions. So once again, before the break, okay, let me remind you. Okay, I need to talk a little bit here. I just need to do it because just to remind everyone about this, about the what are we doing? One. So here. You see here, this is today, group 3 and 4. The 9th of February next week, group 5 and 6. And don't forget, hello class. On the 16th of February, it's a holiday, so we don't have the class on that day. And then we have the makeup class on 15th of February, which is going to be on Tuesday from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's in the evening, all right? Late afternoon to evening. So group 7 and 8 will be presenting. Then no class on 16th of February, and then normal class on 23rd of February. Group 9 and 10 will be presenting. 2nd of March, we don't have presentations, but we have a class, but we will be doing something. I will come up with something for you to do after the break. And then no class on a midterm week, no midterm exam. So as well for this class, just, for this class, we have no midterm exam, but for midterm week, we have no class. And also and for this class, once again, there's no midterm exams. Now we have normal class on 16th of March, 23rd of March, and then that's when the first and second team will be doing their second presentation, which I'm going to tell you with another instruction. It is going to be the different instruction for the second presentation, okay? Okay, just want to remind you what's going on with that. And then 5 and 6, don't forget, 7 and 8, okay? You are going to do your presentation on the makeup day. Thank you. So thank you so much for your wonderful attention. I will see you in 15 minutes. So once again, group 3 and 4, you can spare some of your break time to do your technical preparations during the break. Okay, spare some of your break time to do the technical preparation during the break. You can try sharing your screen, try your mic, whatever things, you can do it during the break, okay? So now I'm gonna see you again at 10:34. Okay, 10:34. Thank you. See you in 15 minutes then.